don't know who else is alive.
I know, ma'am. Just stay on the phone with me, okay?
My whole family, there's 30 people, 25 people.
I know.
Please come immediately.
Who's in your house?
Covina, California. December 24th, 2008. A night that would end in fire. A residential street. Still. Predictable. Unremarkable. Houses stand in rows. Lights blink because the calendar says they should. The night moves quietly, indifferent. Inside one house, people occupy space. Rooms are filled with motion. Voices overlap without attention. Children move between spaces. Their steps echo. Everything is ordinary. Routine dominates. Nothing feels wrong. And that is the vulnerability. Outside, the street is quiet. The car waits. Engines off. Lights dim. Silence thickens. Inside, unaware, the family follows habit. Doors are unlocked. Windows closed, but unmonitored. Time stretches, measured in false security. The night watches. Indifferent, patient. Everything moves toward a point no one inside can perceive. Footsteps are near. Measured. Unhurried. A knock. Normal. Expected. Someone inside reacts automatically. A glance. A small pause. A thought forms, Santa. The door opens. What enters is not surprise. It is a decision made long before. The next moment erases the last. Inside the house, nothing changes. Movement continues. Sound overlaps sound. No one pauses. The environment feels familiar. That familiarity lowers defenses. People trust the space. Because they have trusted it before. Furniture stays where it always is. Lights remain steady. Walls hold heat. Air circulates. This house has a memory. It remembers past holidays. Past conversations. Past nights that ended without consequence. That memory creates confidence. Confidence creates blindness. No one checks the clock. No one tracks time. Minutes dissolve into routine. Outside, the street remains still. No passing cars. No witnesses. No interruption. The neighborhood offers no resistance. Inside, attention drifts. Thoughts move inward. Toward food. Toward small talk. Toward nothing important. This is how danger prefers it. Doors remain unlocked. Not because of carelessness. Because of assumption. Windows are closed. Not for security. For comfort. Every choice is reasonable. Every habit feels justified. That is how vulnerability is built. Not through recklessness. Through repetition. Outside, someone waits. Not impatient. Not uncertain. Waiting is part of the plan. Inside, no one senses proximity. No one feels the shift. No instinct fires. Because the human mind does not prepare for catastrophe. In familiar places, the distance between outside and inside narrows. The barrier is thin. Wood. Glass. Routine. And it is about to fail. The night outside the house is not empty. It is occupied. A figure stands near the entrance. Still. Contained. Watching. Distance no longer matters. The space has already been crossed. The house does not sense intrusion. It continues its routine. Sound leaks through walls. Light spills through glass. Inside, voices rise and fall. None of them reach the person outside. They are not meant to. The figure adjusts position. Not rushed. Not hesitant. This is not observation. It is confirmation. The door is close now. Close enough to touch. Close enough to hear movement on the other side. Breathing remains steady. There is no visible tension. No shaking. No uncertainty. Whatever decision was required has already been made. Inside the house, someone passes near the door. Steps pause briefly, then move away. The moment is missed. Outside, a hand lifts, then lowers. The figure waits again. Because timing matters. The house offers no resistance. No barrier beyond habit. No defense beyond assumption. The boundary between safety and danger has already thinned. Only one action remains. And it will not be delayed. The figure outside is not unknown. Not to this place. Not to this family. He has stood here before. On other nights. Under different circumstances. His name is Bruce Jeffrey Pardo. 45 years old. To the outside world, he appears ordinary. Quiet. Educated. Employed. Nothing about him suggests urgency. Nothing suggests chaos. But appearance is not condition. Bruce does not rush. He does not hesitate. His posture is controlled. Deliberate. He is dressed carefully. Purposefully. The suit he wears is familiar. Recognizable. Disarming. Red fabric. White trim. A symbol of trust. It is not worn for celebration. It is worn for access. Inside the house, no one associates danger with this image. They associate it with tradition. With expectation. Bruce understands this. He understands how assumptions work. How symbols lower defenses. How familiarity opens doors. He has prepared for this moment. Not today. Not this week. Long before this night. Outside. His breathing remains steady. Heart rate controlled. Thoughts narrow. This is not an impulse. It is execution. The house is quiet enough now. The timing feels correct. Bruce steps closer. The door fills his view. What happens next will not surprise him. It will only surprise everyone else. This night did not begin tonight. It began months earlier. Quietly. Without witnesses. Bruce Pardo's life had narrowed. Not suddenly. Gradually. A marriage collapsed. Not with violence. With paperwork. With silence. with decisions made in rooms he did not control. Divorce stripped structure. Routine vanished. Authority dissolved. What remained was resentment. Money followed the same path. Debt accumulated. Credit failed. Stability weakened. Each loss felt personal. Each compromise felt humiliating. Bruce did not adapt. He did not rebuild. He fixated. Every setback became evidence. Every inconvenience became betrayal. Holidays intensified the pressure. They do not allow distance. They demand comparison. Others gathered. Others moved on. Others appeared intact. Bruce did not. He watched from the outside. Isolated. Excluded. Unforgiving. The narrative formed slowly. Clear. Simple. He was wronged. He was dismissed. He was owed. This belief hardened. It replaced reflection. It replaced responsibility. Anger became organized. Resentment became purposeful. By the time this night arrived, the decision was no longer emotional. It was logical. At least to him. Standing outside the house, Bruce is not reacting. He is concluding something he believes began long ago. After the fracture came structure. Bruce Pardo did not spiral. He organized. Thoughts became lists. Lists became actions. Actions repeated until they felt normal. Weapons were acquired legally. Methodically. Without urgency. Ammunition followed. More than necessary. Enough to remove doubt. He practiced patience. Patience reinforced certainty. The suit was chosen carefully. Not for disguise. For permission. It was familiar. Non-threatening. Symbolic. People open doors for symbols. Bruce understood this. He modified equipment. Tested mechanisms. Adjusted weight. Checked function. Every step was deliberate. Nothing was rushed. Nothing was impulsive. This was not anger exploding. It was anger refined. Travel plans were considered. Routes mapped. Timelines measured. He prepared for before. He prepared for after. In his mind. This was not chaos. It was balance. He did not imagine resistance. He did not imagine failure. He imagined completion. Each preparation reduced uncertainty. Each detail removed hesitation. By the time the final night arrived, nothing remained undecided. Standing outside the house, Bruce is not questioning himself. He is following a sequence. He has already rehearsed. Preparation has done its work. Only execution remains. The sequence resumes. Bruce Pardo shifts his weight. The suit settles around him. Familiar. Heavy. Restrictive. He checks position. Distance to the door. Angle of approach. Line of sight. Nothing is rushed. Nothing is skipped. The house emits sound. Muted. Contained. Life continuing inside. Bruce does not listen for voices. He listens for timing. This moment has a narrow window. He intends to use it. He steps forward. One pace. Then another. The porch absorbs his weight. Wood does not creak. Nothing signals his arrival. The door stands in front of him. Painted. Unchanged. Trusted. Behind it. Movement continues. Unaware. Uninterrupted. Bruce raises his hand. Then lowers it again. Not yet. He waits. Because hesitation now would mean doubt. He does not doubt. The suit does its work. It removes suspicion. It creates expectation. This is not intrusion. It is entry. Inside. Someone approaches the hallway. Then turns away. The opportunity opens. Bruce raises his hand again. This time, there is no pause. The knock is controlled. Measured. Unremarkable. A sound that belongs here. Inside the house. Attention shifts. Footsteps turn toward the door. The barrier between intention and consequence is now thin enough to break. The door opens. Light from inside spills outward. Warm. Inviting. Unquestioned. Bruce Pardo steps forward. The suit does its work. No alarm. No hesitation. Faces register recognition. Not threat. The space accepts him. The door closes behind him. Soft. Final. Inside, the room continues as it was. Movement resumes. Sound overlaps sound. For a brief moment. Nothing changes. Bruce stands still. Centered. Contained. This is the point of no return. He is close enough now to see details, expressions, assumptions. No one steps back. No one raises concern. The symbol has succeeded. Bruce shifts his posture. The weight beneath the suit adjusts. The room does not notice. It has no reason to. This is how access works. Not by force. By permission. Time compresses. The distance between intention and outcome disappears. Bruce does not speak. There is nothing to explain. What happens next will fracture the room in ways no one inside can yet imagine. The night has entered the house, and it will not leave the way it came in. For a fraction of a second, the room remains intact. People register his presence, not as a threat, as an interruption. Someone smiles. Someone shifts position. Someone prepares to speak. Bruce Pardo does not respond. He reaches beneath the costume. The movement is small. Practiced. Efficient. Recognition does not arrive in time. Sound replaces expectation. Sharp. Immediate. The room fractures. Conversations collapse. Motion becomes disorder. Instinct replaces routine. People move without direction. Some toward exits. some toward corners, some toward nothing at all. The symbol fails instantly. The suit no longer matters. What mattered was access. And access has already been granted. Bruce advances. Not quickly. Not wildly. He follows a pattern. One he has rehearsed. The space fills with confusion. With disbelief. With the delay that comes when the mind refuses to accept reality. This delay costs seconds. Those seconds are decisive. The house changes character. It is no longer familiar. No longer neutral. It becomes hostile. Unpredictable. Trapped. Bruce does not raise his voice. He does not issue commands. He continues. The first moment of violence has already rewritten the night. Nothing inside the house will return to what it was. The boundary has been crossed, and it cannot be uncrossed. The room no longer behaves as a room. It fragments. People move without coordination. Voices overlap, then disappear. Footsteps collide. Objects fall. No one understands the full picture. Each person sees only a piece. A direction blocked. A path gone. A moment lost. Bruce Pardo continues forward. He does not scan faces. He scans space. Distance. Movement. The house offers resistance now. Furniture becomes obstruction. Walls trap sound. Doorways narrow. Confusion multiplies. Instructions are shouted, then ignored. Names are called, then unanswered. Fear accelerates time. Moments stretch and compress unevenly. Some try to hide. Some try to flee. Some freeze. There is no correct choice. The layout betrays everyone equally. Bruce does not change pace. He does not pursue chaos. He moves through it. Each step reduces options. Each second removes exits. The atmosphere thickens. Heat rises. Air feels heavier. What was once shelter now confines. The structure itself becomes part of the event. Rooms isolate. Hallways funnel. Corners trap. The house has turned inward. Against the people who trusted it. Outside, the street remains unchanged. Lights blink. Silence holds. Inside, the collapse continues. The separation between survival and loss narrows rapidly. And no one inside has control anymore. The shift is sudden. Not louder. Not faster. Hotter. A new element enters the house. Not random. Directed. Flame moves across surfaces. Low. Purposeful. It does not explode. It spreads. The air changes first. Breathing becomes effort. Vision blurs at the edges. Heat pushes people away from paths they were already trying to reach. Smoke climbs. Then descends. Filling space unevenly. Rooms become unusable. Hallways close themselves. The house begins to fail structurally. Not collapsing. Transforming. What once separated spaces now traps them. Bruce Pardo does not retreat. He adjusts position, maintains control. The fire is not chaos. It is leverage. Movement slows. Options vanish. Sound changes. Voices weaken. Footsteps lose rhythm. The house is no longer navigable. It is hostile. Outside, lights still blink. Neighbors remain unaware. Inside, visibility drops. Orientation disappears. People move by instinct alone. Hands reach for walls. For doors that no longer lead anywhere. The heat continues to rise. Fire does not rush. It consumes. The event is no longer confined to a single room. The entire structure is involved. What is happening now cannot be stopped from inside. The house has crossed its own threshold, and it will not recover. The first call reaches emergency services. Information is fragmented, incomplete, confused. Reports describe fire, then violence, then silence. Units are dispatched immediately. Lights cut through the streets. Sirens break the quiet for the first time that night. Firefighters arrive within minutes. They stop short. Heat pushes outward. Flames breach windows. Smoke pours into the air. The structure is unstable. The temperature is extreme. Entry is not possible. Fire crews establish perimeter. Hoses deploy. Water meets flame. It has little effect. The house resists intervention. The fire has already spread too far. Too fast. Inside, conditions deteriorate rapidly. Visibility is gone. Air is unbreathable. Rescue becomes impossible. Firefighters wait. Trained. Prepared. Unable to move forward. This delay is not hesitation. It is survival protocol. They watch the structure burn, knowing people are inside. Police secure the area. Neighbors gather at distance. Questions form without answers. The fire continues unchecked. Consuming rooms. Erasing layout. Time passes without progress. Eventually, the flames begin to subside. Only then can entry be attempted. What remains is not a home. It is a shell. And whatever answers exist are buried inside it. Entry begins after the heat drops. Firefighters move cautiously. Floor integrity is uncertain. Visibility remains limited. The interior no longer resembles a residence. Rooms have lost definition. Paths have vanished. Search teams proceed methodically. One section at a time. No assumptions. The silence inside is complete. What they find confirms the scale. Not immediately. Gradually. Counts do not come all at once. They accumulate. Each discovery adds weight. Identification is difficult. The environment has altered everything. Personal details are scarce. The number grows. Then stops. 9 people are confirmed dead. The realization spreads outward. Through radios. Through command. Through the perimeter. The event is no longer an incident. It is a mass casualty scene. Investigators arrive. Photographs begin. Measurements follow. Nothing is touched without record. Nothing is assumed. The house is treated as evidence. Every surface. Every room. Every absence. Outside, the neighborhood learns in fragments. Numbers. Headlines. Speculation. Inside, responders focus on order. Because order is all that remains. The fire did not erase responsibility. It preserved it. Attention shifts now. Away from the house. Toward the person who caused it. The question changes. Not what happened. But who did this? Attention shifts away from the house. The fire scene stabilizes. The perimeter holds. Investigators redirect resources. One question dominates. Where is Bruce Pardo? His vehicle is identified quickly. Witness accounts align. A route forms. He did not vanish. He moved with purpose. Police follow the trail. Street by street. Decision by decision. Bruce does not attempt disguise. He does not change direction repeatedly. There is no confusion in his movement. He drives to a familiar place. His brother's home. This was not escape. It was conclusion. Bruce enters the residence alone. No conversation. No negotiation. Inside, he ends his life. One gunshot. Silence returns. Police arrive shortly after. The scene is secured. The threat is confirmed neutralized. There is no pursuit. No standoff. No arrest. The sequence ends abruptly. Not with confrontation. With absence. Investigators now have confirmation. The perpetrator is dead. The focus returns again. To motive. To preparation. To warning signs missed. Bruce Pardo will not explain himself. He left no statement. No confession. No apology. What remains are actions. And consequences. The story does not end here. It changes shape. From event to analysis. With the immediate threat gone, investigators turn to reconstruction. Evidence is gathered from both locations. The burned house. The second residence. Firearms are catalogued. Ammunition counted. Equipment examined. Nothing suggests spontaneity. The Santa suit is documented. Not as a costume. As a tool. So is the fire-starting device. Homemade. Functional. Deliberate. Receipts surface. Purchase dates. Preparation timelines. This was not a single decision. It was a sequence. Planning extended weeks back. Possibly months. Travel plans are discovered. Airline tickets purchased. A route prepared. There was intent beyond the night. An expectation of continuation. This was not despair. It was design. Investigators note the absence of hesitation. No abandoned equipment. No signs of doubt. Everything present was used. Everything planned was attempted. The motive narrows. Not mental confusion. Not loss of control. Resentment. Directed. Focused. Bruce Pardo did not lash out. He executed a grievance. This distinction matters, because it changes how the event is understood. Not as sudden madness, but as sustained fixation. The violence was the final step, not the beginning. What must be examined now is how that fixation formed, and why it was not interrupted. Psychological analysis begins with pressure points. Bruce Pardo's life had not collapsed outwardly. He was employed, functional, socially intact on the surface. But internally, there was fracture. Divorce proceedings had intensified. Control was slipping. Identity was destabilizing. This was not sadness. It was ego injury. His self-image depended on authority, on respect, on being perceived as wronged, not rejected. The separation was not processed as loss. It was interpreted as humiliation. This distinction is critical. People who accept loss grieve. People who perceive humiliation retaliate. Investigators note rigid thinking. Binary judgment. Right versus betrayal. There is no evidence of outreach. No attempt at mediation. No attempt at emotional regulation. Instead, there is rumination. Thought loops tighten. Blame externalizes. Responsibility disappears. In this state, others stop being individuals. They become symbols. Targets are no longer people. They are representations of injury. This is how violence becomes justified internally. Not through rage, but through narrative. Bruce Pardo constructed a story where harm felt corrective, necessary, earned. The planning phase reinforced this belief. Every step confirmed the fantasy of control. By the time action began, the decision was no longer emotional. It was resolved. This is the danger zone, where intervention becomes unlikely, because the individual believes clarity has been achieved. What failed was not awareness. It was interruption. And once the fracture hardened, it did not bend back. The warning signs existed. Divorce filings. Hostile emails. Erratic behavior noted by colleagues. Threats implied, never spoken aloud. No single alert was acted upon. No pattern was assembled. No intervention occurred. Neighbors noticed minor anomalies. A vehicle parked unusually. Late-night visits. But nothing was reported as urgent. Friends and family saw frustration. They assumed it would pass. They assumed reason would prevail. Authorities reviewed records. Nothing triggered a response. No call for assistance. No formal complaint. The narrative constructed by Bruce Pardo remained hidden. Contained within routine. Expressed subtly enough to avoid suspicion. This is a crucial insight. Violence often arrives not from nowhere. It grows within systems of complacency. Within assumptions. within the belief that what seems minor is harmless. The house that fell victim was not random. It was targeted. The failure was not opportunity. It was perception. No one saw the cumulative trajectory. The environment enabled access. Familiarity removed caution. Habit replaced vigilance. By the time action began, the path was clear. The warning signs had existed, but no one connected them. The lesson remains uncomfortable. Preparedness does not prevent determination. Observation does not prevent intent. And assumptions can be lethal. The event left shock. Covina and the surrounding area processed it slowly. Neighbors spoke in whispers. News spread through headlines. Television crews arrived. Voices debated. Investigators continued work inside the chart house. Evidence was collected methodically. Photographs catalogued. Rooms measured. Objects documented. Families, friends, and colleagues grieved. Questions circulated without answers. Why? How? Could it have been prevented? Authorities issued statements. Procedures were reviewed. Fire safety, domestic violence protocols, and mental health interventions were examined. The narrative was reconstructed. Timeline by timeline. Purchase by purchase. Decision by decision. The methodical nature became apparent. Public discourse turned to warning signs. To assumptions. To systems that fail to connect evidence. The house remained a symbol of vulnerability, of consequences, of how ordinary spaces can become stages for extraordinary tragedy. Investigators concluded the act was premeditated. Not impulsive. Not sudden. It was deliberate. The result of resentment, preparation, and opportunity. The community learned a stark lesson. Tragedy does not always announce itself. And familiarity does not equal safety. Bruce Pardo's actions reveal patterns. Not random. Not chaotic. They follow a logic only he could construct. Every grievance, real or perceived, became a fixed point. Every slight, imagined or actual, was catalogued. Every loss became evidence. The mind narrowed. Focus replaced empathy. Reality bent to narrative. He did not act emotionally. He acted with conviction. Each step reinforced the story he told himself. Investigation shows planning intensified belief. Repetition of thought hardened resolve. Ritualized preparation confirmed purpose. This is a warning. Human cognition can isolate grievances. It can build justification from repetition. It can make the improbable seem necessary. The community observes and reacts. But understanding is incomplete. Patterns are visible only in hindsight. The house, the timing, the tools, the costumes, all deliberate. The method confirms mindset. Not madness. Not accident. Choice. Psychologists call it fixation. Investigators call it premeditation. The public calls it horror. The sequence was inevitable. Not by chance, but by the structure of thought itself. Recognition comes too late. Patterns are deciphered only after destruction occurs. And the consequences cannot be undone. Bruce Pardo's actions followed deliberate reasoning. Not passion. Not impulse. Every choice served a function. Every step reduced uncertainty. Every item, every route, every timing was calculated. He weighed obstacles. Anticipated responses. Removed variables. The Santa suit was not costume. It was access. The fire was not chaos. It was leverage. The home was not target alone. It was a symbol of assumed safety. Resentment was structured. Anger was methodical. Planning replaced emotion. Execution replaced doubt. Investigators reconstruct these steps. They map sequences. They document preparation. The pattern reveals a mind focused on control. Not on reconciliation. Not on dialogue. Control, final and irreversible. Society observes horror. Psychologists analyze fixation. Law enforcement documents evidence. For Bruce Pardo, the act was conclusion. Not revenge. Not justice. Not protest. Conclusion. The logical mind does not consider morality. It considers outcome. And to him, the outcome was absolute. The story ends not with surprise. It ends with inevitability. Every action, every decision, every tool, and every delay led to this night. Understanding comes later. Too late for those affected. The Covina Christmas massacre leaves more than grief. It leaves questions. About perception. About vigilance. About assumptions. Violence rarely comes from nowhere. It grows in unnoticed spaces. In small frustrations. In ignored warning signs. Routine can be deadly. Familiarity can be exploited. Trust, when unexamined, becomes vulnerability. Authorities review protocols. Neighbors reconsider observations. Communities wonder what could have been different. Psychologists study fixation. Law enforcement studies preparation. The public studies narrative. Every analysis converges on one point. Tragedy often succeeds not through brute force, but through unnoticed patterns, calculated intent, and missed intervention. For families, the lesson is awareness. For systems, the lesson is diligence. For society, the lesson is humility. The house no longer exists as it did. The lives within it are gone. But the memory remains. And the warning endures. Do not assume safety. Do not dismiss subtle threats. Do not ignore signs that accumulate over time. The night of December 24, 2008, was ordinary in appearance. It was extraordinary in consequence. Bruce Pardo's mind shows how fixation can override morality. Logic replaces empathy. Preparation replaces restraint. Symbols replace suspicion. Society responds with shock. Questions arise about warning signs, systems, and human judgment. Psychologists note predictable escalation. Investigators note meticulous preparation. The public notes horror and loss. Each perspective reveals part of the truth. No single explanation suffices. No single action could have prevented everything. Yet patterns emerge. Small grievances, left unaddressed, can accumulate. Familiar spaces can be exploited. Trust can be manipulated. The Covina Christmas Massacre is not just a night of tragedy. It is a study in human behavior. In resentment, fixation, and the consequences of overlooked warning signs. The house, the family, the preparation, the act, all connect. Every detail matters. Every delay has weight. Every assumption carries risk. Understanding these elements does not restore what was lost. It does not bring back the lives taken. But it can warn. It can guide. It can prevent repetition. The night was ordinary in appearance. The consequence was extraordinary. And history records it not for horror alone, but for lessons embedded in preparation, psychology, and human error. The Covina Christmas Massacre left a scar beyond the physical. It imprinted a lesson on vigilance, psychology, and human error. Communities examine assumptions. Authorities review protocols. Families reconsider perceptions of safety. Bruce Pardo's actions show how fixation, when paired with opportunity, can create irreversible consequences. Preparation transforms intent into reality. Familiarity becomes vulnerability. Symbols become tools. The night demonstrates the fragility of normalcy. Ordinary spaces can conceal extraordinary danger. Routine can mask risk. Investigation, analysis, and reflection follow. Evidence is catalogued. Motives are examined. Patterns are studied. Yet understanding does not undo tragedy. It cannot restore lives lost. It can only provide insight. For viewers, the takeaway is sober. Awareness matters. Observation matters. Connecting subtle signs matters. The night of December 24, 2008, reminds us. Ordinary appearances can conceal deliberate intent. Trust without caution can be exploited. And the consequences of unnoticed preparation can be catastrophic. History records the events. Not only as horror, but as a warning. Preparedness, vigilance, and understanding are the only defenses against repetition. The night ended. The fire died. The streets returned to quiet. But the memory persisted. Covina remembered. Families grieved. Communities reconsidered complacency. Bruce Pardo was gone. No explanation remained beyond evidence. No voice to justify the logic he followed. Only actions. Only consequences. Investigators pieced together intent, preparation, and execution. Psychologists studied fixation and ego injury. The public observed horror and incomprehension. Lessons were clear, though bitter. Ordinary spaces can conceal extraordinary danger. Trust can be exploited. Routine can blind. Subtle signs, left unconnected, can become catastrophic. History records not just tragedy, but warning. Preparedness, awareness, and vigilance are the only shields. Understanding human patterns can prevent repetition. Ignoring them invites disaster. The Covina Christmas Massacre is not only a story of loss. It is a study in psychology, planning, and human vulnerability. A night that seemed ordinary became irreversible. And for those who remember, the lesson remains. Observe. Anticipate. Question assumptions. Because darkness often arrives disguised as normalcy. For more stories of human behavior and true crime, subscribe and stay informed.